I got my good friend Alicia. Alicia and I spoke at an event probably like a year ago, 2 years ago. I'm a huge fan. I'm actually in her Facebook group. We'll talk about that and the success of that group. That group's grown over the last minute. I think it's at 8,000 now.
I think we're close to 10,000.
I'm way off, 10,000. So we'll talk about that. Alicia is a fitness business coach. She works with gym owners and personal trainers, business owners, helping them with systems and tactics and how to implement certain systems in their business so that they can make money, create a life of freedom, and actually enjoy the fruits of their labor. So Alicia, welcome to the Rise Up Show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here today.
Oh, I'm honored to have you. So I'm gonna dive right in. We're just gonna go right into this thing. So I did my homework, and I found out that this whole thing for you started with you taking out an ad in the newspaper. That kind of got you in this whole group fitness training, group personal training. Talk to us about that. How did you come up with that idea?
Yeah. Okay. Let me preface this with the fact that I did teach group in college, and I'm pretty sure I got kicked out of teaching because it was aerobics, and I just couldn't get it. Like, it was a disaster, and I had such a bad first experience, and I had to, step class, and I was like, this is just not for me. Like, I can't keep a rhythm. I'm terrible. And so from there, I'm like, oh, group's really not my thing. But my degree is in exercise sports science. I did personal training for a long time, and that's when I was getting burnt out, and I was just, driving. I was doing mobile training, driving back and forth to people's homes. I'm like, I can't live like this anymore. I never see my husband. Like, I'm eating out of drive-thrus. Like, this is just not what I wanted for my life. And so I knew I needed to create more leverage, and I terrified of public speaking at the time. Still not my favorite thing to do, but I'm like, look, I'm never going to get and accomplish my goals and be able to serve the amount of people I want to help doing one-on-one personal training. For me, that just wasn't my path that I wanted to go down. So that is when I took out the ad in the paper, and I'm like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to step out of my comfort zone, and I'm going to see where this takes me. So this is probably not the best path for marketing right now. This was a long time ago, but that was a very pivotal moment for me in my business.
What led you to that? Obviously, let's go back. What was creating that burnout? Was there something if there were certain things that were in that business that you were doing, let's just say systems or certain tactics that you were doing in that business, would you have burnt out, or was there something missing that caused that burnout?
I was just a one-woman show. So I was doing mobile training. I got my own clients through mostly a referral at that time, but man, I had clients like 45 minutes away, and in Orlando, that's sometimes an hour 15, depending on traffic. And so I was just driving back and forth to people's homes, getting up super early. I had like a 4:30 in the morning client at one point. And I'm like, this is, I'm getting home at 9, coming home, crashing, sometimes sleeping in my car during the day. And it was just, that wasn't healthy. And that's what caused me to burn out. Yeah. I was just like, I'm living my life on everybody else's schedule, and I'm not taking proper care of myself. And that's when I was like, I need to do something to make a change. And so Facebook ads weren't a thing back then.
Right. So you're doing the whole traditional training dollars per hour, or
Yes.
hours per dollars. And obviously the burnout that came about from that is kind of what led you to say, hey, I got to make a difference. I got to make a change. And how did you feel coming from leading up to the point of running that newspaper ad? Were you nervous? Were you scared?
Terrified.
Okay.
Yeah. More in my confidence to be able to deliver an incredible class, because I was used to one-on-one for so long and very comfortable in a one-on-one environment and 2-on-1, whatever, but larger group. And I didn't know how many people were going to sign up for this. It was an outdoor fitness boot camp, but we had 6. And I literally, and I still tell the story, like, my husband, I made him come to class with me every day, like twice a day. Because I was nervous. It was a confidence issue. I'd never done it before, and I was nervous about being in front of a group of people. Got over that really fast, just doing it every day, and it became one of my favorite things in the world to do. But pushing myself out of my comfort zone, it was more a confidence issue than, I knew I could give a good workout, but it was new for me at the time, and so that was a push.
So one-on-one was what you were doing prior to
Mhm.
how, and so what was for you, like, there's a lot of trainers out there that are always going with, there was that whole, I think it was like year or 2 years ago where everybody was saying one-on-one training is dead.
Mm.
And there was the whole, like this push to move to small group.
Mhm.
Obviously you had really great success one-on-one training and you had really great success doing small group training. Can the
Mhm.
two coexist within a facility or within someone's offerings of programs, or does someone need, do you need to go one way or the other?
100%. No, they could both coexist. And there's going to be a need for all the small group, PT, and large group. Everybody's attracted to different things and they need different things out of, a workout. And they're comfortable in different areas. So, and this is from the client perspective and from the business owner perspective. So yeah, absolutely they can coexist. As the business owner, you just got to be really careful that that's the highest and best use of your time. And if that is, absolutely, you can do extremely well doing personal training as long as you're still passionate about it, you love what you're doing, and you're achieving your financial goals. So
Do you feel like there's a certain skill set that a one-on-one trainer, like, is there a certain personality that a trainer that's going to do small group? Because obviously you have an audience and you've got to keep the audience engaged, and the
mhm.
coach cueing the timing of the actual, like, is there, obviously there's more involved, a little bit more involved in small groups. Like, like, what led to some of your success with small group training? Like, how did you do so well with it?
I'll tell you what, I just loved my clients and I brought energy every single time. So I wanted to make that workout literally the best hour of their day. And it was the best hour of my day too, because I had so much fun training and coaching and I loved it. And it's funny because I felt like from a energy perspective, I actually gave more of my energy to one-on-one because it was so intensive. Whereas the group kind of takes on an energy of its own and keeps itself going. You got the music blasting. It's super fun, where the one-on-one's just a different setting, different environment. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely a place for both. There's clients that are going to be interested in both aspects. And, if you have a business that you have like team and coaches, there's some trainers that are going to be better suited to personal training and some better for group. In fact, I've found that out the hard way. Not everybody is suited for group training. But yeah, that's why you put certain things in place to make sure you never get to that point again.
Sure. And then obviously, and then you ended up selling so you had multiple gyms though, right? You talked to us about
So
it. You had a few more gyms.
yeah, yeah. So we were indoor, outdoor. We had two indoor, and we rented out two indoor spaces and then two outdoor spaces. And here in Florida, everyone loved to work out outside, and the profit margins are amazing in an outdoor model. So we kept that for the outdoor, and yeah, it grew. We grew over time. So we started with that one space outside, and it's still about 10 minutes away from where I live, and I still drive by them all the time. I had my business for about 9 years before I sold it, but gradually we grew, and our clients were driving in from 30, 35, 45 minutes away. So gradually we started adding different satellite locations, um, taking over Orlando.
There you go. When did you know you were ready for multiple locations? Like, was there and obviously for some, like, most people struggle in one location and they
Yeah.
want to go to another location, but obviously there's components of the business missing. You had
Yeah.
four. Like,
I'll tell you what,
when did you know?
not a lot of people know this. I was doing really well with my first location. I'm like, oh, this will be so amazing if I just duplicate this somewhere else. And so we had a lot of clients that lived on the east side of Orlando. I'm like, let's just do it there. So we secured a location, and I had a trainer who was working with me for a little while. And within a few months, I'd say 6 to 8 months, I was like, this is not the same as my first location. I doubled the workload, which I wasn't anticipating because I didn't have any systems in place. And I ended up having to close that spot. And so that was a huge learning lesson for me. And that's when I was like, wow, I really need to have systems. Like, everything's revolving around what's going on in here, and me to be able to perform, to get the functions of everything that needs to get done. And so I didn't train my team properly at that point. I didn't have any systems in place, and it was a hot mess. And clearly, like, closing that space, that was the result of what happened there. But it was a huge learning lesson for me. And then I was like, oh, this is not happening again. Learning, it needs to be learned, put certain things in place. And then we ended up growing from there, and it was good. It was awesome.
So what do you mean systems? What do you mean you didn't have? So everything was up here, right? Everything
Yeah.
was in your head. So what systems did you not have that you now realize like, man, like I needed to have this and in order to get these other. So when you do this again and you expand it again, like what were the systems you ended up creating?
Yeah, I mean, everything that we do, right? There's a process to it, whether it's in here, it just happens randomly, or we do it, but you'll find, and as a business owner, you're doing the same things over and over and again. And I would always just automatically perform these things. Sometimes it would be a little different, but I didn't have like an actual structure formalized or written down anywhere of the way that I did things. And so there were sticky notes all over my room. Like even my husband used to come in and be like, this is like chaos, like, but I knew where everything was. I knew where everything was. But if somebody normal came in, like they'd be like, what is going on? And I'm like, oh, this really needs to get organized. And so, yeah, it was just a matter of literally sitting down. And I did this with my assistant because she is just so detail oriented and pays really close attention to all the little things. So we sat down and one by one went through all of the little things that we did in business. And she helped me get all of this stuff into our little operations manual. And so we did it from everything from, following up with leads to tracking client successes, to our sales process, to client ascension and reactivations and marketing and launches and everything in between. Like we did it for everything. And so, it was a tedious process.
How long did it take? How long did
Years. I'm still working on systems. That's what I always do. Like you're never done, right? You can always improve, refine, and make it better. But yeah, it's a living document. It's got life.
do you feel for you, like the coaches that you work with, and do you feel like that's one of the biggest things they're missing in their business is not having the systems on how their business runs?
I do. And that's why, and I know how important it is to have that in place, because when everything's in here, it's always a lot easier to just do it than train somebody to be able to do that and delegate it and write it down. But if you do take the time to do that up front, it frees up so much more of your time on the back end. And it does. It sucks in the beginning, and there's no way around that. You have to take the time to do it if you want to grow. And I do find that for so many of us, and I was stuck here for a long time too, like, yeah, it's easier just to do it and not take the time. And that's where I do find most of, especially the people that I work with. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs in general struggle with that because we're fast action takers. We get stuff done. We're quick starts. And sometimes on the other side of that, things fall apart, and we always figure it out. Right. But you're not trying to run that kind of business anymore. So.
And so now, and then also at that point you sold the gym. Right. And
no, that was years later. So yeah, so I had my business for right around 9 years when I sold it. Yeah.
Okay. So
and that was one of the reasons. What's that?
What led to that? Like, what was it? Just time to move on, or what led to the sale of the business?
Yeah, it was a couple things. One, I have fallen in love with business coaching. I freaking love it. I love working with my clients. It wasn't that I didn't love my other clients. I love them too. I still talk to a lot of them. In fact, saw one of them yesterday. But I was just ready for a little bit of a change. And also my husband, we talked about this a little bit. My husband's in the fire department. And so in literally 2.5 years from now, we'll be retiring and we'll be moving out of Florida. So I didn't know what that was going to look like. And random things fell into place for the ability for me to sell the business. But I've always been getting my business ready to either sell or hire a GM because I knew as soon as he retires, we're out of here. I had all the things lined up, and it was literally, she's the most amazing person. I couldn't have written a wish list of a better person to take over my business and, be involved with my clients. So it just, everything fell into place perfectly, and she's amazing. And she's still doing so phenomenal with the business now, 2.5 years later. So.
Where are y'all moving to? Where do you plan on moving to?
Carolina.
I would say Texas. You come visit me. Come to Texas.
I was just in Texas a couple weeks ago. Galveston.
Carolina, family? Or is there family in Carolina? Or?
I'm from North Carolina. Well, I lived in North Carolina for a while through high school, and I went to college at UNC Greensboro. And my husband's whole family's in Raleigh, Cary, right around that area. So we'll be there. He's got a lot of little nieces and nephews running around.
Nice. That's gonna be a fun move back home.
So fun.
So Facebook. So you talked coaching, and I mean, like, I know we talked about the Facebook group. I mean, you're like a group of 10,000. How, I mean, obviously it's built its way to 10,000. And when you start, like, how did you get it to 10,000? Like what's some of the, like, I know connection and client experience are big for you, and that's something you pride yourself on. What were some, can you share a couple things that, like, for those that have a group or thinking about starting a group, that, not to say that they want to get their group to 10,000, but to eventually like start a group, like where does someone start?
Yeah. So first, get some good stuff that you want to talk about in your group first. But well, once I've invited my email list and I invited obviously all of my clients and everything, I ran Facebook ads in the beginning. That is how I got my group. I mean, we had a couple thousand from, just the network that I had originally created. And then it was Facebook ads until we had about 4,500. And then it was referral from there. I actually stopped the ads because I felt that that was a solid number for my group. And it's sometimes really hard to keep up with as you grow. And so I was like, well, that's how I'm happy with this. Like, this is good. But then everybody was inviting their friends, and we've got the most incredible people in there, some great conversations, a lot of amazing people getting great help in their businesses. So yeah, I'm really proud of that group and what it's turned into. And we're very careful about the conversations, no negativity at all, no egos, no promotional posting, bashing, anything like that. Like, you have to really keep, as you know, control over the group, or it could get a little out of control. But it's been a lot of fun.
Why 4,500? Like, what was there? Why did you feel like that number was one? Is there a good number? Like, is that, or why for you was 4,500 the number that you felt was good?
It just felt good. I felt like I could keep up with the conversations. I could still stay highly engaged with everybody. And for me, that was a number that, like, the conversation flow was perfect for me there. Now it's great too. And it was funny. So a lot of people join groups and there are a lot of lurkers. I get a lot of messages saying, hey, I don't really chat a lot in the group, but I just want to let you know, this conversation really helped me a lot. Thank you for having the group. And so there's a lot of people that just watch, that don't really engage. So it adds value on all different levels, but the more you engage, the more you're going to get out of it, and vulnerability and asking questions, like anything else, is going to help you the most.
Now, is there content that you share? Like, is there a content? I know you're big on marketing plans, because I see those emails. Uh, do you have one for your group? Like, because I'm obviously to drive engagement. The group's amazing. I'm in the group myself. What's the name of the group again for anyone watching? Alicia, what's the name?
Oh, awesome! Fitness Business Freedom Formula is the group.
Cool, and then we'll link it up at the end of the live feed. But obviously, I mean, the group is very active and there's a lot of engagement. And I know you go in there and you share some stuff as well. So how important is that? Like, how important is it for you, who's the creator of the group, to be in the group, sharing content and engaging with some of the conversations that are happening?
Yeah, I do think it is important. It doesn't have to be you as the business owner. Like, as long as you have somebody on your team that is responsible for that, you just want to keep the conversation flowing and you want to keep it streamlined, and you don't want it to get too out of bounds or crazy. You want to definitely control the flow. But yeah, it's definitely important to show your face in your group. It's your group, and you're trying to, be the authority and get whatever message you want out to your people. That's your tribe. So, and I think this was one of the things I struggled with. I wasn't expecting the group to grow as fast in the beginning. It sucked a lot of energy out of me. I loved it. It was a lot of fun, but you're thinking about it all the time. And then somebody will post something and then you have to go in and check it. And, it was a lot of oversight until now. I have people that are helping me with the administration inside of the group to monitor posts and stuff. And the same thing when you have a free fitness community group for your clients, like, you'll have competitors in there, whatever, sneak in and post inappropriate things, but it's part of it. It's not a big deal. You just have to, but yeah, I definitely would have a plan for content, because if you don't, like, coming up with stuff on the fly is not always the best idea. You can if you want and you feel inspired, but you don't want to be stressed out about creating content for the group.
Where's the best place for someone to find content? So that way, obviously, because it can get stressful, right? With a group of 10,000 to try to come up with content. Or, like, where do you find the content to come up with to share with the group?
Yeah. So, well, for me, and that this is actually part of my product, like, library, but I actually help fit pros with content for their groups. And then I was like, wait, what do I put in my group? And so that was that, like, I kind of follow the same kind of structure when I did it just for on the business perspective. So when we started, and we were doing this on a very regular basis, was like the challenges. I love like setting people up for challenges for the week and incentivizing people to engage in, whatever challenge is. Like for the one, for example, in our group, like we did a playlist challenge, like share your top 5 songs on your playlist for your clients. And then you have the opportunity to win a prize at the end of the week. I'll do a random drawing. And so those types of things are fun. And they get people moving forward in their business, or sharing and engaging and feeling a part of the community. But sharing tips and strategies, doing some videos. I used to do webinars on a monthly basis. I haven't done one in a few months, but we're going to be getting back to that soon. But trainings, a lot of times I get inspired from coaching calls with clients when we do our group coaching, and somebody will ask a really great question. I'll be like, that's a really valuable question that a lot of people would benefit from hearing the answer to. So, that's something that I'll share in the group. But sharing case studies and just engaging and answering questions is really valuable. And I think a lot of people really benefit from that, and just feeling like it's very lonely sometimes being an entrepreneur. So just having the community is a really great place to feel connected.
And I think that this leads me into my next question with the whole like client experience. And obviously that is the experience you're creating for the fitness business coaches inside the group. But for what's kind of for you when you were running your own, when you're 4 clubs or even your one club, like, client experience is such a big thing now. And when you're looking at like what's the differentiator between one gym and the other, and I believe it's client experience. What are some things gym owners or trainers can do like to enhance the client experience?
Yeah. So I always recommend asking yourself one question before you do anything in your business. One, like from the client perspective, and this is rolling out different things. What experience do you want this person to have when they go through this part of your program, this program? Like imagine you are your client coming in with the same fears, and like if they have anxiety or low self-confidence or whatever that might be, whatever market you have, whatever issues they have, pretend you're that person. What kind of support do they need? What kind of education do they need? How many touch points do they need? Like you just have to pretend that you're them. What would blow you away if you were that person stepping foot in your gym for the first time? And what things do you need? How can, you just over deliver to that person, make them feel like they're home. So you can't go wrong if you do it from that perspective, because you're coming at it in a different pair of shoes. But also surveys are really great to get actual feedback from clients, find out more about what they need.
What kind of questions would you ask on a survey to send out to clients?
Oh man, you can ask so many different types of questions, but after you can ask, hey, what's one thing that we could have done better to enhance the onboarding part of your journey? Don't call it onboarding, the first 90 days of your journey, right? What's one area where we can make improvements to make your experience even better? Try not to lead questions, like feed them answers, because you're just going to hear the same thing over and over again. But I like to leave open-ended questions. Don't give them more than 2 or 3, because they're not going to answer your survey. But yeah, just be genuine. Sometimes taking them out for coffee, having an actual conversation on the phone, you'll get a lot of great information out of people from there.
And then do you do this? So do you send the survey out after they've joined, or if they don't join, or if they quit, leave? Like, are there surveys for specific, like if a member leaves your facility, is there a different survey?
An exit survey. Yeah, we did surveys for everything. So we did quarterly surveys for our clients where we would actually have them talk about their experience, their results. These were great for testimonials and, grabbing like screenshots for your site or Facebook or whatever. And then we would do like an exit interview survey. You could do an exit interview survey. If they didn't sign up, most people aren't going to fill out a survey, but you can absolutely call them and get some feedback there. I mean, might be cool if they filled out a survey, but I doubt it. But yeah, surveys are awesome. At the end of a transformation challenge, we always sent out surveys. I've got some free ones up on my website that people can like literally swipe the questions for. But yeah, surveys are great and valuable feedback.
So we got putting yourself in the client's shoe and kind of walking yourself through the experience. And then we got surveys. What else? Is there one more you can share with us from?
You know what? It's not a money thing. It's not about the more money you spend. the more appreciated your clients are going to feel. It literally comes down to being thoughtful and the small things. Sending a handwritten card will mean so much to your clients. Like if they love motorcycles and you see a cool little like thingamajig motorcycle at the store, you think they would like it, get it for them. Like if it's 50 cents, it doesn't matter. Like the thought is what goes a really long way. Just be thoughtful. And I just actually had this conversation yesterday with a couple of my clients, but it really is. It's like just taking yourself out of the day to day and the craziness and the busyness of being a business owner. And like your clients are real people and, you know, they're people. So they love that. Not a lot of people, you know, get the card in the mail or have something special sent to them, or, you know, it's as adults, as kids, we get a lot of that, right? But not so much as adults anymore. So that alone will help you stand out.
I like it. Those are some three good things we could try, three good tactics we could try. What are, for you, I think you just hit on, you mentioned like being as an entrepreneur, we're so heavily involved in the business that we don't step back and just and see where some, like why do you feel like we have such a hard time stepping back from the business? Like why are we so engulfed in it that we lose sight of what's happening around?
Oh, that's such a big question.
We have 15 minutes. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. So I think a lot of our businesses are our babies. Okay. So a lot of us build these things from nothing, from the ground up. And so we're very controlling around what goes on. And like, I'm a recovering control freak. I still absolutely have my moments. And it's still something I struggle with, like letting go of certain responsibilities. And so especially things that I enjoy too, right? But I know that in order to get to the next level, it's something that I need to be able to delegate. But yeah, like I said before, sometimes just not having the systems outlined so that you can delegate those, it's just easier to get it done ourselves. A lot of us wait till the last minute, so we don't even have time to teach somebody. And so it's being really proactive versus reactive and shifting that whole dynamic in the way that you run your business. And trust me, I'm not perfect. I have an amazing accountability coach that I'm working with to help me, because we all have to be very honest with ourselves when we're running our business, you know, and anticipate this kind of stuff coming up. But yeah, I think it comes down to being very protective of our businesses, being, you know, we get it done. We'll always figure it out. But also, you know, it's sometimes not being able to get out of our own way to take it to the next level.
What are some things you did to get out of your own way? Like what were some, you know, you mentioned delegation, having some coaches, like what did you do to get out of your own way so that the business can thrive and you were, and allowed you to help it thrive?
Yeah, those are the two things, honestly. So hiring coaches to help me get there. But also sometimes you have to get to a breaking point where you need to make decisions. I was about to lose my mind. And that's when I brought on my assistant, and we started, I literally brought on somebody with an opposing skill set to mine, like super detailed. Like I'm more of a big picture visionary. I like coming up with ideas, tons of ideas. And she's like, wait, before we move on to this idea, let's get this one written down and organized. I'm like, yes, this is what I need. And so now this is what I'm able to help clients with, because I can see that in a second when that happens, because I think that way. And I'm I'm very sensitive to identifying when I do that now. And then now I can recognize that. And so I'll take a step back and I'll do what I need to do to get there. And I'm still working on it. Right. But getting the people around you that complement your strengths, that have things that you need to work on or don't want to work on, that really complement what you need help with in your business.
Nice. Who were some of the coaches that have helped you, or what were some of the things they've taught you that have helped you with your business?
So Chris McCombs was my first coach.
I know Chris.
I know Chris. He's awesome. I was in Kickback Life. That was my first real experience with a mentor. And he was absolutely amazing. Just the group and the community that was, our mastermind was freaking phenomenal. So that was really my first experience with higher level thinking and thinking really big out of the box. And people that are just super driven and passionate got me freaking fired up. I loved it. That was really a big turning point for my business. It was a big stretch for me to financially commit to that group, and I did, and it was awesome. So definitely Chris's group. And that was the biggest lesson out of that, was just thinking bigger and being around people that have an abundance mindset, and really being like having a little community of people. That was huge for me. And then Camellia Ruth, she's my accountability coach now. She was my accountability coach when I had my fitness business, and she's she holds my tail to the fire, like big time. And so like I have to get my stuff done every single week to make sure I get that everything moving forward in the way that I need to move forward with, but also being accountable to my team. And once I share the vision, the plan, I make sure that my team is holding me accountable as well. And, we do this together. It's not a one-woman show or a one-man show. Like you guys once you have a team, like you guys should share the vision. Everybody should feel a part of moving your business forward and being able to impact your community the way you want to impact, and feel a part of that, really contribute. And so it's a team effort.
For sure.
It's a team effort for sure.
Absolutely. What's Alicia's vision?
Oh, I have a big vision.
What's a big vision?
I have a big vision. And we're working it a little bit right now, but I want, first of all, the Facebook group's absolutely amazing. I want to be able to really help provide fitness professionals and health coaches with resources to be able to free up their time on the content side. I get literally an email every single day from people saying that running the transformation challenges has just changed their entire business. And yeah, marketing is going to change, and great, but getting them in and being able to deliver a high quality program is amazing, right? And it just frees you up from so much stuff. And so, I really just want to help them with content. I want to help with strategy and helping them to get out of their own way in their fitness business, because I went through that. I'm still going through that. We're all going through it. And I truly believe we are the only bottlenecks in our business and in our life, and we have to get out of our own way. So my vision is really to help people do that, to be able to live a life of financial abundance and live a life that feels good and contributes in the way that they want to contribute.
I love it. That's an awesome vision.
Thanks, man.
I love it. How are you doing that? I know you have products, and I know you mentioned earlier, you talked about some of those products. What are the products you have that help gym owners with their business?
So the Facebook content, we do the Facebook content, and that really helps them get their groups going, at least deliver great content. You could use it for emails and stuff too. The transformation challenges, we got actually a little black dress coming out next week. But I also have my coaching program, which is called Fit Pro Accelerator. And that actually teaches the systems. So the things that we built out in our fitness business, I don't want people to have to recreate the wheel on that. Giving them, they're not going to use it word for word. And I don't want people to do that. You have to make it yours. But if I had that when I was starting or even growing, that would just free up years of my time. So being able to provide those types of resources, done for you systems, they can, make their own and customize and just have these processes in place. To me, that's where I struggle the most. And I created that as a resource, and we're constantly refining and updating it based on market trends and what's going on in the marketplace. But that to me is where really I feel like I've been able to make the most contribution, is those two pieces. And then for me, actually, I just started my mastermind. Thank you. I was so excited. We've got some incredible people in there, but I really benefited, like I said, from the Kickback Life, which was my first mastermind event. And I wanted to be able to create that for some other people and surround myself with other amazing people on a closer basis. And so, so those are kind of my three avenues.
So what is the black dress and the Facebook done for you? Can we go deeper into what's entailed in both those programs?
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the transformation challenges first. So when I, had my business, one of the best ways to get people in, we did the free trial and success session afterwards. So we had people come in for that. That was a great front end offer. That was kind of an evergreen for us. But then, one of the best ways that we had, and this was when Groupon was popular. It's actually one of the ways that we grew quickly in the very beginning, was offering transformation challenges. And so having a 4-week, 21-day, 6-week, whatever, 12-week, could be any amount of time for people to actually experience your program and get great results, feel a part of the community without a longer term commitment, gives them a really great opportunity to try everything you've got and make sure that this is the right fit. And then you can have them join on as a member after that. And so I created all these programs from scratch, and like it took me years to build them, like, you know, and make it better and test them. And so like, I mean, I know what it's like to be in it and to have to create this stuff. And so that's one of the things I wanted to help people with. So like there's meal plans, and they're all dietitian approved, and grocery lists and success manuals and daily emails to send your clients. Like I tried to make it as comprehensive pricing guides and everything that they would literally need to be able to run a program like that in-house. That's part of what I offer on my site. And I love coming up with this stuff. Like it's freaking gets me excited. I'm such a nerd.
Scientist behind the computer coming
I
up.
love it. And my mom is she's a chef, and so like we have fun. Like she looks at every recipe with like a magnifying glass, and it's just a lot of fun to come up with. And then the content, the Facebook content, like this was literally the content we used in our, so the way we use this content, it was so Monday through Friday content. We had challenges, tips, strategies, recipes, workouts every single day that was, you know, sent out to our clients. And so we used this in our own business in-house, and it was our members only private Facebook group is where we used it. And it got engagement. People literally, like it could have been a standalone program that we sold as an online training, whatever, you know, just for people to get that kind of content. People loved it. We had clients that moved away that were like, can we please stay in your Facebook group? And I'm like, I'm sorry, you can't. But yeah, it was really great way to educate, give back to your community, you know, show that you're the expert and over deliver, and get people moving forward towards their goals. Because the Monday challenges, they always had one focus, like drink half your body weight in ounces in water this week, or let's have something green with every meal this week, and give them a challenge to something for them to move forward towards being healthier.
Nice.
So it's fun.
Oh, that sounds exciting. I know I think I have one from like a few years ago, and I know you just came out with an updated version. So I got to get the version.
Yeah, I think this was a 6th year. I think this was my 6th year doing it. So I used to have a business called the Boot Camp Girls with my friend Carrie, and that's how everything kind of evolved too. And she and I released the very first, actually we did 2 editions together. And then we each rebranded and moved a little bit in our own direction. She's still such a dear friend of mine. Love her. But yeah, I moved forward with the Facebook content. So this is 6 years of content.
Yeah, that's awesome. And every year you update it every year, right? Like every year.
Brand new content every year. We don't use, some of the themes are similar, right? Because water but everything is new, like all of the words and everything, the content's new.
Do you find that done for you, are gym owners, personal trainers, are they looking for done for you instead of do it on your own? Like, is that kind of the direction you feel we're moving in as from a business perspective? Is the not so much the more information, but can you do it for me? Or can you provide me something that's already done that I can just swipe and put on my
Yeah. Good question. And here's the question everybody needs to ask themselves is really what's in their 5%. Because for some people, they love creating content and that fires them up and it fuels them. Some people, it's like, I've got so many other things I want to work on, bigger projects to move my business forward. Is content creation one of those things? If it's not, and most of the time, and a lot of times I find that certain things like the Facebook content, that's not necessarily in their 5%. They could be spending, that time doing other things, creating marketing strategies, doing a Facebook ad, or connecting with clients, or whatever might be in their 5%, getting on a video. So, for them, it absolutely would be worth it to have content done. And then for others, if that fuels them, and they freaking love it, and that is moving their business forward to them in that way, then absolutely they should do it on their own. But it definitely helps to have structure and to even see examples of what other people have done, because you don't need to recreate the wheel.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Where do you think the industry is headed? Like, here we are, we're still a young industry, we're a growing industry, but where do you feel as a coach, as a business coach now in the industry, and having been in it for so long, where do you think it's headed?
So I see, obviously, the trends are online. Everybody, a lot of people are moving online. My personal theory, there's always going to be a need to work in person with clients. Always, always. Even face-to-face is great if they're doing it online, through online coaching, and that's amazing. But, there's always going to be a need to work in person with clients. That's never, ever going to go away. As far as trends, there's always going to be the trends like mud runs, UFC, those are all those little, niches that people jump into, and it's great and keeps people passionate. It's always going to be something, the soul cycle, like the orange theory, like people are getting excited about that. Those are just things, right? But, where the differentiating factor is, and because there's so much concentration now, there's so much saturation and competitiveness in the marketplace, like what will separate you going forward is you bringing yourself and having the personality, because the content's out there. I mean,
Absolutely.
any Google search. Yeah. Right. So they're coming to you for you, and your message and your ability to connect and communicate with your clients, and because they like you and they trust you. That's never going to go away. That's people. So as long as you can bring that to the table, you will always be successful if you're authentic to yourself and genuine.
Nice. I love it. Love it. Last two questions. We're almost
Yeah.
done. So Alicia of today can go back 10 years ago, what advice would you give younger Alicia?
So good. Such a good question, man. And I feel like I've grown a lot as an entrepreneur and as a woman. I've grown a lot, but don't take myself so seriously. I put so much pressure on myself. Realize now, looking back, to meet deadlines, to get everything done. And it's been a big part of my success, but sometimes it's come at a cost. And at some points in my journey, I missed the journey and I reach a goal sometimes and I'm like, great, what's the next goal? But that's not the fun part. The fun part is the path. And so starting, I think I breezed through a lot of things that I should have really taken my time with and enjoyed and savored the moment a little bit longer. And be proud of myself for accomplishments, because I was like, okay, great, I did that next, check it off the list. And now I'm like, hey, that was really cool. I spend time in reflection and journal and meditate. I wish I could have told myself, 15 years ago to start meditating. That would have changed my life, because meditation is freaking amazing. I meditate before I write my plan for the day, because if I don't, who knows what's going to go on that plan, right?
Right.
But yeah, that would be my advice to my younger self.
What do you use to meditate? Do you use an app, or is there something you use to help you with meditation?
Insight Timer. It's free. They've got a ton of guided meditations too. So if you feel up to a guided, it's pretty awesome. And they have a paid version, like $2.99 or whatever, that you can use an offline. But I just usually do the silent timer, 10, 20 minutes in the morning. And then I'm done. I'm good for the day.
Yeah, I started using Headspace.
Ooh, good app. Very good.
I do about 10 minutes every morning, and man, I feel the difference. If I don't do it in the morning, my day, there's something missing, and I'm starting to realize, wow, I didn't realize how big of an impact it had until I went a couple days without doing it, and I just felt off. So yeah, I'm with you on the meditation.
Totally right. You feel more centered, more grounded, more clarity, and more connected. Yes. I feel like I make a lot better decisions when I meditate.
No, I agree, absolutely. Especially right before I go into meetings, or I'm like, yeah, I got to make sure I stay on it. I don't miss any more days.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Last question. Rise up moment. I ask every guest on the show, what was your rise up moment? And for you, it could be something you did that led you on this direction that made you who you are today, or helped you become who you are today. Or it could be a tragic thing that happened that helped you catapult to who you became today. For you, what was Alicia's rise up moment?
For me, I would have to say, man, just getting out of my own way early on and taking the plunge and getting out of my comfort zone, because your comfort zone expands and expands. And you know what? You just got to take that next step. Just get out of your own way. And now I do it all the time because I'm used to it. But before, it was a challenge, like moving the rock. It takes a little while to get that momentum going. But for me, saying, hey, whatever, if I fall on my face during this first class with 6 people, I fall on my face, whatever, I'll live. And just doing that allowed me to take on the next challenge, and then the next challenge, and the next. And So that would be it, is making the decision to get out of my own way and do it anyway.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, before we go, I want to acknowledge you. Because I think if it wasn't for those uncomfortable moments, we wouldn't have the Alicia we have today. And you come from such a giving place that, and it's so genuine and authentic. I feel like it's something that's missing in this industry, and having a business coach who isn't in it for the money, but is in it for helping the industry, but more importantly, helping gym owners rise to that next level so they can succeed in their business. I just want to say thank you.
You're amazing. Thank you. That means a lot to me. That does. I genuinely feel the same way about you. Like, you have such a giving heart, and you can tell that you truly care about everybody. I mean, just the fact that you're doing these interviews just to give back and, help your community out, that's absolutely freaking incredible. I admire you a lot.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Trust me, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone as well, because this is uncomfortable. It's getting a little bit better now that I've done a few of these.
You're doing so you feel you're natural.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap up the show. Thank you for tuning in to episode number 7 of the Rise Up Show. Thank you, Alicia, for making the time today to jump on with us again.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And I will see you all next week for episode number 8 of the Rise Up Show. Take care, guys. Have a great weekend. All right.
Yay.
What'd you think?
You're so good. I didn't have a single clue that you were nervous or that wasn't in your comfort zone.
Oh yeah, these things I get so nervous right before I go on.
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't have known. And you know what? This is the first time I didn't get nervous. And I don't do Facebook Lives. Like, I've done a few for other people.
Yeah.
But I never do them in my own group, and I need to. But this is the first time I feel totally comfortable with you.
I love
it. I was like, this is no big deal. I got this because you're awesome.
Yeah, it's just I wanted something different. Like, I didn't want to go the whole podcast route, and I wanted to create like a show. And I was like, I have a lot of friends who, I've been fortunate. I just developed these relationships that I can shoot a message and be like, hey, do you want to hop on a show with me? So it's been fun. But yeah, I did it for selfish reasons. I wanted to overcome my own fear of going on Facebook Live, that I was like, you know what? I know I'm good at interviewing and I'm good at speaking, so let me just bring on friends and we'll have a conversation. And
so good.
It worked.
Awesome. Well, that's awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate you having me on. Did you feel the interview went okay?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think it was good. I think there was enough content. I want them to feel, I had the one space and then I had 4 spaces. But before I had 4, I filled the second one, and I want them to, so for me, it's like, okay, I can do this, but I need to make sure all these things are in place. So I think you did an amazing job. It was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I've gotten a lot better at talking about where I never used to do that. Like, I've always been like the image that I thought everybody should see. Like, I'm always been genuine, and this is me always, but sometimes I didn't share I closed my second location. Like, who wants to know that? That's such a valuable lesson. Now I'm all about talking about that stuff. I don't have to be perfect.
No, and I think that's what makes you relatable. And I feel like that's what they're like, wow, they see Alicia and they see the success, but they don't realize underneath, it's the whole iceberg theory. They see the success, but don't realize underneath the water, there was all these things. And I think that's what makes it a more genuine, I did fail. I shut down a place, but I learned, and here's the lesson. And I feel like as long as there's a lesson there, I feel like the listeners will take away something from it. So I'll link everything up, link the websites up, and we'll rock and roll.
You're awesome. Thank you so much for having me on. You did such a phenomenal job. I would have had zero idea that was out of your comfort zone. So rock on. And I definitely will give away those tickets. You will have 10 filled seats for my people.
Thank you.
Thank you for offering that. That was super cool.
Anytime. I was like, it's the giving back thing. It's like, we're all community. So giving away 10 free tickets doesn't do, if it helps somebody and it helps you and helps I'm all about it. I'm not.
That's awesome. I will raffle off some of them in the big group too. Okay. Get some awareness and make it a real prize.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks again for having me.
You're welcome. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
Okay. Bye.